Today you will be learning how to properly perform a titration. A titration is used to find the unknown concentration of a sample by using a reagent with a known concentration. You also need the volume of the solute and the volume of the reagent added. The added volume can be found by finding the initial and final volume, then subtracting the two. Your burette should always be prime. This means it should be rinsed with water in solution 3 times before use. Anytime you take a measurement with a burette, it should be to the hundredth decimal place. The first thing Sarah does is get the initial volume of her reagent and record it in the initial volume spot of her titration chart. Sarah then begins to release a small amount of reagent into the flask. Sarah stirs the flask at a medium speed so the pink color does not settle. After a short amount of time, your solute should begin to turn a light pink color. This is what you are looking for. When Sarah is satisfied with the color of her solute, she then records her final volume in her titration chart and calculates the change in volume. This is what your titration chart should look like. Once again, the first thing Stephen does is get the initial volume of his reagent and record it in his chart. Stephen then begins to release a small amount of reagent while at the same time stirring the flask. After a short amount of time, his solute begins to turn the desired light pink color. Lastly, Stephen records his final volume into his titration chart and then calculates the change in volume. You should now try to name the steps that I perform. The first step you should have listed was to record your initial volume. The next step was to release a small amount of reagent into the flask and stir at a medium speed. You should continue stirring until you achieve the desired light pink color. The last step is to find and record the final volume of your reagent and calculate the change in volume. As you can see once again, the first thing Carlie does is find her initial volume and record it. Carlie then begins to release a small amount of reagent into her flask and stirs continuously. After a short time, Carlie's solute begins to turn a light pink color. Now, if you release too much reagent at once, your solute will turn a very bright pink. This is not desired. The last thing Carlie does is find her final volume and record it in her titration chart. Carlie can then calculate her change in volume. After each step is performed, you are then able to calculate the unknown concentration.